Hi everyone, how you doing? Good evening and welcome back to youtube.com/Wi-Fi sheep with me, Tom. Now, the night I'm recording this, it's December the 9th, 2024, and today the announcement and release has happened of the far less than secret Raspberry Pi 500 all-in-one ARM-based Pi computer. I'll be very honest with you, I was planning of doing a few kind of prospective run-up videos to this product launch, but I just haven't had time or got around to it. And before I knew it, I was at work this morning and I looked at my phone and there was a message from the Pi Hut, which is one of the official retailers, saying that the product was I'm going to put this, dropped and is now available to buy. I kind of looked through a little bit, but I said I was at work, so I was busy with other things. So it's only now as I've got home, I've actually had time to, well, I suppose make some thoughts about this product, to tell you what I think. I'm always a bit jittery now about saying anything about new Raspberry Pi products, because if it isn't all, oh, it's wow, it's amazing, you must go and buy it. I just seem to get an awful lot of hatred and just really unsavory and unfounded comments. That said, fundamentally, I don't necessarily have an issue with the new machine. It's a logical step. It's not a huge surprise. However, I won't actually be buying one at the moment. I'm going to wait a little bit, and I'll explain why a little bit later. Okay, let's go over to the official Raspberry Pi website, raspberry Pi. I can't remember what it is now. It's .com. The commercial holdings website. So, and here it is. So it doesn't tell you a lot. It's just buy is all it does. So there we are. There's a new machine, 5-in-1 Raspberry Pi 500, 64-bit ARM processor, and basically all the stuff that we've come to know in the Raspberry Pi 5 is now in the new 500 unit, and there it is. Oh, and they've also done a new display. I don't really think I'm going to talk much about the display. Not much to say about it, really. I mean, it's probably fine. I mean, the unit's probably fine. What I will say is if you have bought one, or have ordered one as of this evening, or plan to buy one, then, yeah, I mean, there's no real reason not to buy one. I'm not, just because of a few little things, but those are very kind of, I'm going to put this, personal to myself, and my personal use case for such a device, which could be very different to you. Fundamentally, I don't have anything wrong with it. I mean, I will say the 500, and we'll just go over to the Pi Hut. Now, I'm not sponsored in any way by Pi Hut, but it's just one of the retailers. It's actually got more information, ironically, than the official Raspberry Pi. So here's some pictures of the unit itself. I do like the all-in-white. Helps distinguish it from the 400, and also kind of we get away from that sort of my first computer Fisher Price look, which does dog the 400, unfortunately. Yeah, fundamentally it looks pretty much identical. The I/O on the back is identical. My pet hates are back, so the twin micro are just awful. I said that when 4 came out. I said it when 400 came out. I said it when 5 came out. Really hope they'd drop that, and they haven't. So, yeah, I just don't get on with that at all. I mean, the specs are what you'd expect. It also comes with 8 gig of RAM, which is nice, which is really nice. It's now clocking at 2.4 gigahertz quad core. So Cortex A76, and yeah, 8 gig of SD RAM. Everything else is pretty much standard as we'd expect now. So USB 3 and one USB 2 port, full GPIO connector. Yeah, so I mean, I won't bore you with the details of that, just because it's nothing there that we don't already know or we haven't pretty much already seen. It's fine, but I think for me, and we'll just click back to, let's just have a look. So I've got here, this is my Pi 400, this is my original 400, which I said at the time, I like these machines, and they have been really, really useful. I mean, mine I have to now keep the blooming connector in the box with it, because if you don't have these connectors or you misplace them, you seriously can mess up your day very, very quickly. So my machine, the 400, you've seen it before. I now own 3 of these, believe it or not. So this is an original from when they were first announced in 2020. Then during the chip shortage, they actually changed the spec inside. So the newer ones, and I bought 2 newer ones more recently, in fact this year, despite the fact knowing that the 500 was on the way. I bought 2 more just because I wanted one to take out to shows, and the 2 new ones are actually on a slightly newer, different spec to this. So not all Pi 400s are equal. But this is my original, which I do use occasionally, and I have my little packet of multiple SD cards with different Pi 400 Pacific OSs and builds on that we've used for projects. And yeah, I mean, it's okay. The keyboard was always a bit stiff, and I know a lot of people said they didn't like the keyboards on these. But at the time, it was great. And I actually preferred this machine over the straight Raspberry Pi 4. And I actually thought it ran faster and ran better than the Raspberry Pi 4. And this form factor was so convenient for use. However, many of you remember that the Chinese clones got involved. And about a year, 2 years later, we got this, which was the Orange Pi 800. Which, to be honest with you, I actually prefer as a machine. So the keyboard, although the same sort of memory design, is actually a little bit soft, a bit nicer to type on. The I/O, very different. So we did have to go back to a shorter pin out for GPIO, but we got headphone socket out, VGA, a full-size HDMI, and although we do have a micro SD card slot, the micro SD card slot can be used for booting an OS, but these actually have a NAND chip on board, and the Linux operating system, the Ubuntu that they come shipped with, is actually flashed onto the device itself, meaning you didn't need micro SD cards in order to boot this machine up. And I really, really like this machine. Also had a microphone built in, so it did things better. It was also faster than the Pi 400. It used I forget the exact name of the chip. It was a rock chip. I can't remember the spec, but it's 64-bit rock chip. I should tell a lie. No, it had a dual core 32-bit, and then a quad core, so it was an hexacore 6. Yeah, let's get this right. 6-core ARM rock chip CPU. So it would support both 32-bit and 64-bit environments. So it actually was more powerful, had more cores in it than the Raspberry Pi. And I really like this machine, and I have used it an awful lot for development work. The only thing I will say, and everyone says with the Chinese clones, is operating system and software support is never as good as Raspberry Pi so far. Raspberry Pi really are, like I said, a gold standard. They do support their operating systems, they support their products, and the latest builds of, well, it's not Raspberry anymore, it's now Raspberry Pi OS, Pixel Desktop, whatever they're calling it. Yeah, it's good, it is the gold standard, it does work, and it does work well, but you don't get so much with the Chinese products. Saying that, the Orange Pi OS, this does need updating, but Orange Pi have actually done a fairly good job in supporting their products with their Ubuntu-based operating systems. So, anyway, this was the kind of gold spec I was thinking, well, this is kind of getting nearer to kind of all-in-one. It fixes a lot of the issues. The VGA I actually use, the full-size HDMI is just brilliant, and in fact, I don't have to worry about SD cards, it just works. I really like this product. So, why I'm showing you this is, in my world, I was thinking, right, the next Raspberry Pi all-in-one needs to start doing some of these functions and features in order to kind of be competitive and be as interesting. 500 comes out and it doesn't do, yet again, any of the things that I really felt Raspberry Pi should be doing by now. All the Chinese clone manufacturers now have some kind of solid-state NAND storage, or the ability to plug in external solid-state SSDs, which I know Raspberry Pi have their boards that you can fit to actually put in SSDs, but we honestly thought maybe on the motherboard or something inside here, you could just clip this off Even if we didn't have a door because of expense, you could clip it off and there'd be a slot inside to actually fit an SSD. That's slightly ironic that they haven't done it, considering they do now their own branded official, and I have one here, which I don't know for the life of me quite why I bought. So they actually have a SSD hard drive, a proper Raspberry Pi SSD one. This is just a 256 gigabyte, which ironically, I don't actually have anywhere or any adapters to plug this into Raspberry Pi, but ironically, another Chinese clone board. This is the UE2 R1. Ironically, the UE2 R1 actually has the slots on the board to actually fit the Raspberry Pi product. Now, admittedly, I think this should have been a bit longer for this, so I might need a way of holding that down, because I think it's, yeah. So it's not perfect, but it does technically work and would be compatible with alternative or rival boards. Raspberry Pi actually said in their documentation for this that it does work on other non-Pi models. And of course it does, because it's just a standard stock SSD. The fact that they make stuff like this, or at least label official products like this, and then don't include it or have a way of putting it into their all-in-one machine, a new spec all-in-one machine, is, to me, baffling. I mean, I appreciate the cost point, etc., but there's nothing at the moment particularly new with the 500 that I can't do with the 400. So I don't really see the point, especially for this side of Christmas, of splashing out 85, 86 pounds, 90 US dollars to buy another all-in-one case computer, which I don't know what I'd use it for at the moment, to be completely honest with you. So that kind of brings me around to my thinking at the moment, and why I'm just yet again a little bit underwhelmed and disappointed with the new Raspberry Pi 500 product, in the same way that I was with the original 5 board. Saying that I did buy a 5, I do own a 5, and there's 2 use cases for it, which I think, for me, this again just me personally, works very well. So the OBS build, the ability to live stream, it's actually what I'm using right now to record this, but be it on x86 PC. But the ability to actually live stream or do video recordings through cameras and video and actually run that on a Raspberry Pi itself is very impressive, and the 5 does do that very well. And also when we've done things like trying to run Windows, the Windows 11 build, theoretically if it would work, we've had it running quite well on the Raspberry Pi 4 and 400, theoretically it should work on the 500, and it would make a very good system actually, especially with Windows 11. This is the ARM 64 build. Its capability to actually emulate and run some x86 software, and it even manages that on the Pi 400. So an upgrade for that would be extremely welcome. Myself at the moment with the projects like BPi for Atari ST, which we're going to come back to shortly, or if you want to run legacy native Raspberry Pi projects and operating systems such as RISC-OS, then Raspberry Pi 400 at the moment is the kind of the best and the top of the line. 400 does still run and support native 32-bit operating systems. Things like RISC-OS are never probably going to get into the 64-bit space without emulation. So to run natively, the Raspberry Pi 400 was very much end of the line. It's the last of the machines that are going to be capable of running this operating system. Another reason why, when they've come down in price, and they have dropped in price dramatically, that's the 400, I have picked up as the 2 other machines. So I now have 3 Raspberry Pi 400s. Basically just as spares, stockpiling, and for taking out to shows or having specialist use cases for the projects we're doing. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fine. I will probably get one at some point. Just I'm not literally going to order one this side of Christmas. I can wait. I'm perfectly happy to wait. But let's see what comes out in the near future that this thing's going to run on. One last thing I will leave you on is the thermal cooling abilities of Raspberry Pi 5. Now, if you remember, Raspberry Pi 5 came with a little mini fan, standard. I think, was it standard? Can't remember. I think it was standard, or did I have to? Anyway, they did a cooling fan for it, which I have on mine. Now, I did think, well, surely Raspberry Pi 500 with its same 5 chipset is going to need some sort of mechanical cooling, active cooling, they call it. Apparently not. They've managed to just fit it with passive cooling, another massive heatsink inside the unit, and apparently that's sufficient, which I'm surprised about, considering how they kind of thought, no, you really do need to fan cool Raspberry Pi 5 to be able to go back to a passive system is surprising. So I hope that doesn't isn't negative, if you like, towards the performance of Raspberry Pi 500, that it hasn't been clocked to run slower or cooler or whatever they've done in order to make it not have a thermal issue in that kind of all-in-one case, especially if it's being passively cooled. Remember, the other way around was with Raspberry Pi 4, which didn't run particularly well. 400 ran surprisingly well and much faster, despite being roughly the same chipset, because it had this large thermal heatsink fitted to it as standard. I just hope that's not reversed, whereas 5 will run better than 500, just because of the thermal dynamics, if you like, of both boards. Anyway, that's some initial thoughts. We're going to leave that there for tonight, because I just wanted to crash this video out just to sort of share a few thoughts with you. It's not a review. I haven't got one on order. I know, shock horror. If you actually have ordered one, or by the time you're watching this have actually got one, do drop a comment. Be interested to see what you thought. I'd want to know about this keyboard as well, because the keyboard, I said, it's all right on the Orange Pi clone, but the 400, and I don't know if you can hear the difference, but yeah, it's enough where it's just so much more stiff on the 400 as opposed to the Orange Pi 800 clone. So I'll be interested to know if they've actually done anything with the keyboard. I highly doubt it. I reckon it's still going to be exactly the same 400 body and keyboard. So that's just about it for me. I'm very shortly on this channel hoping to be back live streaming, possibly this Saturday, which if I get a date for you on that, so it's the 9th today, so when's next Saturday? There we are. So possibly the 14th. I might be back 14th of December with some Christmas run-up episodes live of 8 till late right here on youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep. If you are brand new around here, or if you've just recently subscribed, then thank you so much. If I don't see you again, may I wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. If you haven't subscribed, please do consider liking and subscribing to me here on youtube.com/Wi-Fi Sheep, and I hope to see you real soon. Until next time, bye for now.